The 3 Ps. And the 3 Ps are really what we guide ourselves with every day since we got into office. And I think it's important because otherwise you go all over the place. This really keeps us focused on 3 Ps, protecting taxpayers, and we've done that. We've done that this year, and we've done that in the previous 7, where we have had no tax levy increase in Westchester County as far as the county property tax goes. And that's significant because before we got in, the tax levy had jumped dramatically, 60%, in a period of time that was devastating to a lot of people. And so that's why we ran, and that's why we have made sure that we got a hold of our expenses as best we can and really tried to prioritize things. Now, the second thing is subjective, and that is preserving essential services, because what's essential to me or you might be very different from somebody else. But we try to look at the essential services as what is the broadest impact or appeal. And just in-house, we've had no layoffs this past budget. We've had a decrease in the number of county employees through the years, but we did that mainly through a buyout and attrition. And we've had no cuts to nonprofits. So we've really tried to hold firm on what we do to make sure services are very strong in this county. And also, and this is the most important, I think, and it is promoting economic growth, economic development. Because that, when you have a good economy, when you have new things getting on the tax rolls, that's how you pay for the first 2. So those are the 3 Ps that we guide ourselves with all the time. Okay, we hear this argument all the time with regard to, you got your hand up already? Wait a minute, we'll get to it, don't worry. We hear this argument all the time. Just a little tax increase. Little bit here and there, just a cup of coffee a day, all that kind of stuff. We already have very, very high taxes in this county, to the point where people struggle. I hear it from seniors all the time. I hear it from young couples all the time. I hear it from businesses all the time. And though the county is 20% of the tax bill, that's all we can control, so we're going to control it. Now, if you look at since we got in here day 1, the question is, well, if we just raise taxes 2% every year, what's that equal, right? No big deal. It is a big deal. It adds up over the course of these 7 years to $415 million that we took out of the economy and gave to government. And to me, that's not what we need to do when we're already highly taxed. So it does add up. The inflation rate over that period of time was about 12%. We have made sure that we really looked at every part of the budget and figured out with the Board of Legislators what we need, what we want, and what we could do away with, or how we do things better. And that's really our job. And so I think we've accomplished something big there, because it really did change the paradigm a little bit here in this county, where the past was always, what do we need, what do we want, what's the difference, and that's the tax increase. Automatic. We have done something very different. Okay, state mandates, you hear this all the time, right? State mandates. Well, what does it mean? It means the state is forcing local governments, in this case the county, but it's not just the county, it could be local municipalities and school districts, forcing us to do programs that are their programs, with little say over how to administer it and to save costs. So when you look at what these add up to, it's a lot of money. For instance, we collect $548 million. Now, when I came in, it was $560 million. So we've actually reduced the tax levy by 2%. And then we've held it to 0 every year after. So you take the $548 million that we collect in property taxes as part of your county portion of your tax bill.
Answer our question!
All of that already goes up to Albany to pay for a lot of their programs. Then we get into the fees that we charge. And 100% of that, all $150 million, goes up to Albany for their programs. So now we're left with another major funding source, and that's sales tax. And when you look at how much of that is gobbled up to pay for their programs in Albany, no wonder why they never say no to anything in Albany, because it's not always their dime. We're their ATM machine. And so they have little ways to save up there because they don't care. They force us to do it. And so we have to be the bad guys. We're the ones that have to raise property taxes, or your towns, or your schools. And so we've taken a hard line that we're going to find other ways to save money here without raising taxes. And that's what it equals up. Now, preserving essential services, here are things. We had no layoffs, no cuts to our nonprofits. If you go through the whole list, 4 years straight, at WCC with no tuition increase, and that's important for people who need an education. And for the first time ever, the Department of Social Services budget has topped $600 million. Now, we've had less people in county government. What that means is if our increase to the budget in that department means more money is actually going to help people feed, home, and make sure people get the care that they deserve, and less of it going to a bureaucracy. And I think that's important, so we can do things differently and spend money more efficiently and wisely, and that's what we should be doing. The capital budget is a part, you have the operating budget, you have the capital budget. The capital budget are the infrastructure things that we'd like to do. Parks is a biggie. Now, we have a $300 million capital budget. It's the biggest ever. So we're really investing, and it's the time to do it, because if you look at what the Fed is saying right now, rates are going to go up significantly, perhaps, in the next year or so. So we took programs that were in the following years and kind of moved them up a little bit to do work that puts people back to work, but also helps build back their infrastructure in this county. And parks is a biggie, because about a third of that is going to our parks. And we're really rehabilitating the North and South County Trailway, for instance, some of our pools, all of our parks are going to get something. And so that's how we make an investment in the quality of life here in this county. Here locally, we've got work to do at Saxon Woods, at the pool, and the field, as well as the Main Street overpass near the Bronx River Parkway, near the train station in West Point. There's a big project that the Board of Legislators is looking at right now. This is something that we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to do. Last year, the Board of Legislators allocated $4 million to fix up the fountains. Now, I don't know about you, I love Kensico Dam. I love it.
And my grins are welcome here.
It's the most used park that we have, and this past weekend with the sunny weather, it was flooded with people, which is a great thing. But Kensico has an eyesore in it. This large, 740-foot long by 130-foot wide pit. That's where there used to be a reflecting pool. Now it's just a concrete pit. And with all the use that we get over there, we thought we could do better. So for some people, a lot of people probably remember there used to be fountains there, right? It was a reflecting pool, and they had the fountains. And it was an attraction. It was beautiful in the summer. Those have been in disrepair for 10, 11 years, whatever it is, and they've been off. This is an opportunity for us, with the funding that we receive from the board, to go ahead. So the plan is to fix the fountains, 9 fountains, 30 foot high in the air with water, but also to fill in that pool, the reflecting pool in the warm weather, so it'll make it more beautiful. Here's where we take it to the second level. The Parks Foundation did a study a couple of years ago, and the number one desire for people in the park system is outdoor skating. We do have an opportunity, and so we're going to now have the pool be transformed in the winter months, if it gets final approval, to be what would be almost the largest outdoor refrigerated skating rink in the United States. It would be in the middle. It would have, you can see the renderings of places. It would have a regulation-sized hockey rink, which could be used for games. It could be used for lessons. It could be used for free skating. And then 2 large ovals that are connected by a 30-foot wide. So that's how you're going to have a lot of fun. In the wintertime, when we want to get the kids off the couch, it's a good thing to do for the family. So that's in the final stages. The Board of Legislators is looking at it. We hope to have approval in the next week or so. And if that happens, we can get to work, and there's an outside chance that we can get real skates on that ice by the end of this year. The airport. The airport has received a lot of misinformation as well as information. So let me tell you a little bit about what the airport is about. We have an opportunity under a program for the FAA that you have to qualify as either a small or medium-sized airport. We do qualify for that. And if you meet these qualifications, you can, in essence, privatize the airport, because right now, under the law, also want to make sure that as a way to privatize and to take that money, we can use it for general purposes. For police, for fire, for parks and recreation. That's what we want to use it for. So that's the deal at the airport. It is right now in front of the board. We're working with the County Board of Legislators to see that. Excuse me. Let the county executive speak so we can have a dialogue here, okay? Courtesy, courtesy. We need to have a conversation. Hold on, we need to have a conversation. In order to have a conversation, we need to have respect for one another. Okay? So let me finish and then we can answer your questions. But if everyone's going to shout, nobody's going to hear an answer. So the airport right now is being discussed. We're having RFP, requests for proposals, to see who would qualify and what deal we can get for the county. We would use that for a variety of ways. Westchester Biotech and Technology Center. This is the 60 acres at the Grasslands Reservation. So I say grasslands because if you've been here in the county a long time, you say grasslands, but it's where Westchester Medical Center is. And if you're looking at the hospital, you'd go to the right. And there are 60 acres of undeveloped property, and that is where we propose to develop that property to bring in 12,000 new jobs, good, high-paying jobs, to coordinate with our healthcare system. These would be a biotech village. There'd be some light retail there, a hotel, a children's museum for science. So this is something that would be very complementary to what we're already doing in this county with our healthcare network. It would be wonderful to work right there with Westchester Medical Center, New York Medical College, Accorda Therapeutics, and Regeneron, which is right behind, which Regeneron, by the way, has become one of the largest biotech companies in the world. And so these are the jobs of the future, and we're trying to bring these jobs into our own backyard so our kids don't have to go to Boston, or our kids don't have to go to Texas. Our kids can stay here in Westchester. Now, let me try to wrap up the affordable housing settlement. We, of course, entered as a county, my predecessor, Andy Spano, entered an agreement with the federal government in 2009. It required the county to build 750 units of fair and affordable housing in 31 eligible communities based on the 2000 census. Now, for those of you who have been here for a while, you know the county has changed a lot. For the better. We are far more diverse today than we were in 2000. But anyway, we're using the 2000 census because that's what the settlement called for. We have met the benchmarks. The settlement, technically, the benchmark to make the 750 units had to have been met by the end of last year. We did that. As of the end of December, we had 790 units under construction, some of which were occupied already. And we have about 100 more in the pipeline. So we went well above what we were required to do by the federal government. And that's a good thing. There's no question that we need affordable housing in this county. The problem with affordable housing is it's not affordable in many ways. It's not affordable for the people who are trying to live there. It's not affordable to build. And it's not affordable for taxpayers. So it's a big problem.
So rude.
But if you look at the numbers,
So they can't even hear us.
you know what the average public subsidy was all in between the county and the state and federal government?
Bullshit.
It came to almost $235 million to build these 790 units so far. That's a lot of money. It comes out to almost $300,000 a unit. So when I say affordable housing isn't affordable, it's not. We've got to think of better, more efficient ways to build our housing. Just as Mayor de Blasio was trying to do in New York City, he's coming up against, the hard reality of economics as well. So it's an issue that we're dealing with. We will continue to build affordable housing, whether we had this settlement or not, and well past when this settlement is finally wrapped up, which we hope will be in the coming months, not years. So that's where we are on the affordable housing settlement. Indian Point, we had a town hall meeting in Portland about a month ago. And the closure by the governor, or the agreement to close Indian Point in the coming years, was one that caught everybody by surprise. Now the problem with Indian Point, no matter how you look at it, most of the good, if not all of the good, is going to be gone. All the taxes that we derive from it, all the jobs that we get from it, and the energy that it produces. All of the bad will remain, because those spent nuclear fuel rods will stay on site for up to 6 decades, rendering a lot of that property, unfortunately, to be almost uninhabitable or undevelopable. So you can't put it on the tax rolls. Unlike another piece of property you can rezone and redevelop, especially right on the Hudson, it's gorgeous over there. But we're not going to have that opportunity with at least part of that property, if not all of that property. So the question is now, what do we do? Where do we get this energy from? And the governor says, don't worry about it. Well, I am worried about it. We all should be worried about it. And we should worry about where our rates are going to go, which we already pay the second highest utility rates in the 50 states. Only Hawaii is greater than ours, and we're going to catch them. So when I say, what's 2% on your tax rate? Well, when you add all of these surcharges that we're getting on every bill that you have, and you're getting an arrow from every government agency in the world, that's why people are leaving, and that's why, at least on what we can control, we will control, and that's why we've had no tax increase. Okay. So that's a little synopsis of what we've been doing. Now, how do you stay in touch with us? Because it's not just tonight. I can't do a town hall every night. But what I would love is for people to obviously join us on our county Facebook or follow us on Twitter. Stay in touch with us. I know some of you have already, in good ways and bad. Contacted us. That's fine. That's good. We want you to get our Westchester brief, which we do every Friday, on just a quick synopsis of some of our top news stories. That's how we're going to stay in touch with each other. So, with that, we have now till, I don't know what time it is, but we have till about 8 o'clock. So let's start taking your questions.
Okay, we have the first question from Susan Katz. Susan?
Good evening. Thanks for taking my question. Is Trump right in casting the news media as the enemy of the people? And do you consider the Westchester media your enemy?
Trump is absolutely wrong to call the media the enemy of the people. And I will tell you this, in broadcasting, it's in communication and journalism. And so I've spent my whole life being a reporter, being on the air, and facts and ethics and journalism are very, very important to me. Now, the question is, do we have unethical journalists? Do we have a slant one way or the other? Is freedom of the press vital to our nation? Absolutely, positively, yes. No question. And no, I do not think that the journalists or the media in Westchester is the enemy of Westchester or me. No. I disagree with them on times. I agree with them on times. And the role that they play is vital. Sure.
Next, Sarah Manuel? Sarah?
Ooh, Shari Rosen.
Do you approve of President Trump's executive order calling on the local police departments to enforce immigration laws?
Sarah, thank you. Okay. I guess this is going to be a President Trump issue. Just so you know, I do not have orange hair, so this is not Donald Trump standing up here. And I'm more than happy to answer these questions. But what I want you to know too is a lot of these things that we're going to talk about that you might ask, we don't have control over, okay? So, let me answer your question. Let me answer your question. The question is whether or not the police will enforce immigration. Is that your question? Oh, the executive order. Oh, okay, sorry about that. Okay, on the executive order. There clearly was issues that I had specifically with the executive order. It went through the process worked. The democratic process is if you disagree, you will go to court, the court's blocked it. Now they have to rewrite one. If the question is, do I think we should have vetting on anyone who comes into our country, the answer to that is yes. The purpose of our immigration laws, the purpose of a border is to make sure that the right people come into our country. Doesn't matter where in the world they're from. I don't care where in the world they're from. I want good people coming into this country who want to come to this country for the right reasons. And whatever the right reason it is for them, as long as it's the right reason.
That's not the question. That's not the question.
I don't know who that is. I don't want them to get anywhere close. My kids are their kids. So, President Obama was correct. President Obama was correct when he labeled those 7 countries countries of concern. You have these nations with no functioning governments, with no vetting. I'm answering your question. Hold on, guys. Hold on. I am not, nor will I ever favor a religious test to enter our country. Never. Ever. But a background check? Absolutely. And look, if I were to ask you, I won't, but if I were to ask you what your street address is, what your home address is, and then ask you, do you lock your doors at night? Or do you leave it wide open for anyone to enter? If you're going to give me an honest answer, I think you're going to say you're going to have a door locked until you know who's coming into your home. That's the same thing with our nation. I just said no for a religious test. No for a religious test. Next question. All right. Lori Wells? But Lori is, thank you. Please, we spent a couple minutes. Lori, I asked you that question. You said it was about the executive order. You changed the question. I asked you, was it about you said it was about the executive order. Go ahead, okay.
This is Lori.
Lori, Lori's from Larchmont. Go ahead, Lori. Hi, Lori.
Hi, how are you? I'm a resident of Larchmont, and the majority of the county legislature voted in favor of a ban on gun shows. I want to know why you vetoed the majority of what Westchester asked for.
Now, I disagree with your question with regard to how you put it. A majority of Westchester. We had 9 legislators who voted one way and 8 who voted another. So it was a very, very split legislature. In our nation, in our country, as you know, in our country, we have checks and balances, and we have a system of government where, just like a governor or president, any executive in a strong form of government has an opportunity to veto legislation he or she disagrees with. And I can't look at every issue in an emotional way or what a majority may want. I have to look at what is legally right. We could have voted this way, respect the diversity. I respect the diversity of this county, and that includes political viewpoints, that also includes gun owners versus people who don't like guns, and the process worked. Now, let me tell you what we did do with regard to the gun show, because there's a lot of misnomers about what a gun show is, and what it isn't, and what it permits, and what it doesn't permit. How many of you went to the gun show? Okay. Have you ever been to a gun show? Let me tell you what happens when you do go to a gun show and you try to buy a gun. Because here's what people think. People think you walk in, pick out a gun, and walk out. That's not how it happens.
No, we don't.
You have to have a pistol permit in order to buy a handgun. You're still not walking out with that handgun that day from the county center or wherever you go. The process... Okay. Here's the process. Come on. Guys, settle down, let's get the answers. Let's listen. Don't you want to listen? Okay, listen. Hey, did you come here to scream and yell, or did you come here to listen? Because I'm trying to give you an answer. He is, sir. Let him say you don't like it, but that's okay. But I'm going to give you the honest answer here. You cannot walk in if you try to get a pistol permit in Westchester County. And by the way, we've had a surge in pistol permit applications from women especially. Fearing for domestic violence, small business owners, people who want to go hunting or target hunting. These are legitimate rights of people, whether you like it or not. Now, when you go into a gun show, or even a gun store, and you try to buy a gun, you have to have a pistol permit. Now, the application itself will take months and months. There are background checks. You have to get it approved by a judge. And only then can you go and purchase a gun. You get the serial number, then you have to go on the county clerk's office and put that serial number on the handgun that you're purchasing. You cannot walk in and get a gun. You also have National Criminal Investigation background checks, NICS checks. So when you go there, you're looking to purchase a gun, you're not walking out with it anyway, but if you want to buy it, you have to get the background check that is done on site. Now, what we did was we put protocols in there that were the strongest around. In fact, Gabby Giffords, the congresswoman who unfortunately was shot by a gun, supports gun shows with these kind of protocols in them. So, the right of people that you disagree with cannot be shut down simply because you disagree with them. We have a constitution in this country. So, we had 8,000 people over the course of 2 days, the largest attendance by far of law-abiding citizens of every stripe, every background, every color.
Shame! 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 Shame!
Okay? Is Dave Tools here? Dave? Dave Tolles? Dave Tolles?
No. It's
Did we get it wrong?
No.
It's Davin, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Hi. So this is regarding the airport. Darren Tolles.
Darren.
Oh, thank you. So I don't understand why we're selling the airport. I mean, I have like a park down at the end of my block. Maybe we're going to sell that soon too. I don't really get the connection between that and we have a $15 million gap in the budget. Where did that come from? That seems like that's the real question, not why are you attaching it to the airport? Okay, it seems like a very poor decision. And now it sounds like, from what I just heard, it sounds like you're planning on spending that money on even other things. So it's just going to become this cash cow, and then we're left with control of the airport from some private equity fund. Their only motive is cash. That's it. That's all they care about. And they're in California. So, we need something more substantial, more than just a soundbite as to what this really means to us, right?
Okay, let me correct you on one thing, Aaron. It's not a sale, it's a lease, and there is a very...
Shame.
Oh, we do. No. We do have a lease. We're the property owners. We retain rights. There are things written into the lease specifically to make sure that things can or cannot be done. In other words, I'll give you an example. There cannot be any runway extension. There cannot be another terminal building. There cannot be a casino, just in case, but there can't be another casino. Those are things that are written into the lease that they cannot do. Well, the cans also have to come back to the county on some of these things. Yes, but any major improvements have to come back to the county. So it is a long lease that we took into account many things, including the neighborhoods around the airport, which was very important to all of us, the environmental aspects of this. Now, this is a deal that is not done. It's in a process still, but you know, if we're going to have improvements in infrastructure, if we're going to try to keep it livable, we've got to make new ways instead of always saying to the taxpayer, give me more, because keep doing that and they keep leaving. So it's how we pay, you know, by unlocking some of our assets, it's how we pay for the things that are very important to us, like social services, things that we have to do and want to do for people in this county who need help, like police coverage, like our parks. No, we're not taking it all.
You said, okay, 2 times 15 million. But you said yourself it would be irresponsible to take the money all up front.
Absolutely.
But that's exactly what you're doing.
No.
You're taking $30 million in
Not
the first 2
$30 million.
years.
Okay.
And the $2 million at the end, what is that worth? Nothing, right? 40 years from now, that has no value.
Here's the thing. Again, just to let you know, under the federal law, under the FAA, this was approved in 1996 by President Clinton and Congress. It gives airports, small and medium, that qualify, and we qualify, it gives an opportunity to take that and use it for general purposes, as opposed to leaving everything at the airport. Now, San Juan Airport was the first one to take advantage of this, and they've had a dramatic... let me finish. San Juan is an airport that has done it, and by most accounts, very successfully. Second, we have other airports that are potentially in the process.